'cause we're not seeing guys pass out offers on, as eighth graders or freshmen like they were a couple of years ago. If you're that guy, you're going to get the offer. For the rest of us, we're going to have to work hard and be able to show our value as we go to the college coaches that have a lot more options than they've had in the past with the transfer portal and NIL and all this stuff that are all the buzzwords that everybody's talking about right
Welcome to the Recruiting Assist, brought to you by Net Results Recruiting. My name is Matt Bright, Regional Director for Net Results Recruiting. Joining me, as always, is our President, Steve Schafer. What's going on, Coacher?
Matt, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Excited about this episode. We got some special guests in the house.
We do. Our topic tonight is grassroots basketball and everything that goes with that. We have two special guests that I'm really excited to have on tonight, Jason Elrod and Ray Arvizu. Jason is an entrepreneur. He's a high-level real estate investor and developer and the president of both Pathway Communities and Jason Elrod PC. He's got an extensive experience as a public speaker and has done speaking engagements of the likes of Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, and has had audiences of over 20,000 people. Jason's been involved with grassroots basketball since the year 2000. He is the co-founder and the current club director for the Phoenix Runner Rebels and Adidas Gold Boys basketball program in Arizona. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to be on with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ray Arvizu played his college basketball at South Mountain Community College, and then from there gained a scholarship to Grand Canyon University, where he finished out his career. He has coached at both the high school and the college levels and has had tremendous success winning back-to-back AIA state titles at North High School in Phoenix, and also spent time on the coaching staff at Phoenix College and helped them win the 2014 NJCAA Division II National Championship. Ray has been involved in grassroots basketball since 2000 and is a major figure in the Arizona basketball community. He currently oversees the Arizona market for one of the premier grassroots programs in the country, the Compton Magic, and Adidas 3SSB boys program. Welcome to the show, Ray. Happy to have you on.
Pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, guys, I know the Compton Magic and the Running Rebels are Adidas programs. You guys mind telling the audience how the two programs are sort of connected and more about your respective programs and how they operate? And Jason, we'll start with you.
Sure. I appreciate that. I really got into this out of the love of the sport. And as a former player, a coach, a father, all of those things, we started the Running Rebels to try to carve out a piece of the marketplace to help kids in our community get through their high school careers, develop properly, and have college opportunities. So, as we always say, this is bigger than basketball. And Ray and I have been really close best friends since we were in high school for many, many years. And we had the opportunity to kind of coach our kids, coach our friends' kids, which are prominent high school coaches here in the Valley. And really what we have is something special going on that we've been able to foster and put together. And every day we get up and we do it, and we love it. And we love who we're doing it for, and we love who we're doing it with.
That's great. Love that.
So Compton Magic, my journey is unique. I started off as a AAU coach with coaching 9U in the beginning. And I did that because I actually started coaching while I was playing. Fell in love with the coaching aspect of it. And then moved on, did high school. And so I got a good chance to do high school coaching, junior college coaching, and then ended up finalizing through AAU or grassroots. And the reason being is that I wanted to stay attached to the game. But I also wanted with my work life and being an entrepreneur and that kind of stuff, it just was my way of staying close. My passion through basketball is mentoring the kids. And so grassroots gives me an ability to do that at a high level. I spend a lot of time with these young men and mentor them. And I think that basketball is in team sports in general helps these young men translate to life skills. So that's primarily the reason why. In regards to Compton Magic, we are an elite basketball team that are sponsored by Adidas. And I oversee the Arizona property. So for us, it's just really finding the right fit and helping change this young man's landscape of recruiting, which we do pretty often. Running Rebels is a situation where I just felt I have a heart for development. Not everyone is going to be elite. Not everyone is blessed enough to be elite, but they should get the same amount of attention for whoever they are or their basketball journey. So it was a pleasure to get rolling in that. And how about other Adidas Gold programs here in the Valley as well?
I want to make sure our audience kind of understands this. I mean, we've got two heavy hitters on that have spent a lot of time and a lot of years in this space with club ball and grassroots basketball. But I think what's really neat about having you both on, not only your experience and knowledge that we're going to be able to share with parents and players who listen to this podcast, but you guys have seen this from three different perspectives, in my opinion, as a director or a founder of a program, as a coach, but also as a parent, because you guys both have kids that have played club ball. And so you've experienced all this on that side of the fence as well, which I think the perspective you guys are going to be able to provide for our families and our audience is going to be outstanding. So again, thanks for being on tonight.
Yeah.
Ray, I want to get your take, since you've got experience coaching at the high school, the collegiate, and the grassroots level. What's the biggest difference between high school ball and grassroots club ball, whatever we want to call it?
That's a great question. First, I think parents and players need to understand that it's different brands of basketball. And I think there's a confusion in that a lot. I think most people just think basketball is basketball, but it's not. Playing basketball at the park is different than playing 5-on-5 in the gym. It's different than playing grassroots. It's different than playing high school. I would say the biggest difference in grassroots is the mid-game adjustments, and the adjustments are a little bit faster. Being that you don't have a big scouting report, so to speak, because you're playing 3, 4, 5 games in a weekend. Depending on the level you play, I would say collectively the talent of the teams you're playing are better, just in nature that like grassroots was concepted as all-star teams first. So you're playing against numerous kids in the area. I don't think the team ball is as strong, and obviously the scouting isn't as strong and the assignments to that. But I like to tell players and parents, you shouldn't put one over the other. They're both very important to your development and your recruiting.
Jason, anything to piggyback on what Ray?
No, I agree with all that, obviously. And, the process of which, in situations which you're in, vary in different quality. Like we'll have kids, and I can tell you at the end of the high school season who has a great high school coach and who continue to develop throughout the year. And I can also tell you kids who, maybe the coach isn't as engaged or they didn't have that opportunity, and then they fall behind, and we got to try to really catch them up at the beginning of our start of our club season. And so, not all high schools and not all situations are the same, but, we try to do our best to work with their coaches, not only on recruiting, but development, make sure we handle the player and their development as seamlessly as possible in as many situations as we can.
I want to stay with you for a second. The biggest thing we tell, the advice that we give players that we work with at Net Results Recruiting is when you're thinking about choosing a club team, go where you can play a lot, where you can play in the right events and get exposure. And then if you can get developments, that's kind of the icing on the cake, as far as that. But I kind of think in that order, those are the three kind of main priorities that players and parents should consider when they're choosing a club program. So with that said, I think the Rebels they're what I love about the Rebels, what I know about the Rebels is they're big on development. I think that could be hard to find sometimes in club ball because you're playing so many games, you're not practicing as much sometimes. So my question would be like, what skills do you believe are most important for young players, to develop? What are those skills in your opinion? And what do you guys kind of emphasize at Rebels?
Well, we try to help the players understand who they are, what their value is at the college level. Once we get them in high school, we kind of understand what their athleticism generally is, what their size is generally going to be, how they fit into the college game. I've had these conversations over the years quite a bit, try to really help them understand who they are and what they are moving forward, and then help them develop that skill and be able to showcase it in a way that a college coach can come and look and say, I need that player in my program, right? So if they're a shooter, we're going to teach them how to be a shooter at the college level. And all of our stuff is geared towards their recruiting and not necessarily winning games at all costs at our level. But we're really trying to help each player individually develop at their positions. And so we can, get them all off the board. It's our goal to get every player in our program off the board, not just the top 2 or 3 on each team at some level.
And Ray, for you guys, I mean, you're working with a lot of like just high major guys. Like what is it for your guys and as far as development and what are the keys for them?
So one of the biggest things I think developmentally is their body. That's kind of a thing that the kids that we get for the most part are assumed to be Division I talents and beyond. So body's a big one. So and that determines the impact you can make right away when you touch a college floor. That's usually the biggest adjustment. But if we're talking about basketball in itself, there's really three things that I would say can be separated as early for you. One is in today's game, you have to be able to shoot the ball. So you have to be working on your shooting for whatever that is for you. If you're a stretch four, the pick and pop style, if you're a shooting guard, whether it's coming down, pin downs, that kind of stuff. The other thing is your basketball IQ. That's going to be big as well. You're going to have to be able to understand terms. You're going to have to be able to understand coverages, schemes, and so forth. And the biggest thing that most kids don't understand walking into college is your defensive principles, which is, you have to be for sure on defense, plug and play. You have to be able to walk in and follow a coach's schemes, whatever that may be. And so you should always be looking at film. You should take from your high school to your grassroots to even an open gym and always be working on whatever defensive principles those are for you. So to me, those four things are really the separators in terms of being impactful right away or getting the chance to take advantage of any early floor opportunity in college.
Love that answer. That's great. And Jason, we all deal with this next question as far as our space with recruiting service and obviously grassroots basketball. What advice do you have for players who may not be getting the exposure or the looks that they want? What would your advice be to that kid?
Well, I think, the first thing is understanding what the right situation is for you, right? Putting yourself in the right situation. I think so many people think the platform is everything. If I just get on the right platform, no matter who I am, I'm going to get recruited. I just got to have the opportunity to show what I can do, which is true to a degree, obviously. But figuring out, where you fit in that organization. Are they going to recruit 3 guys at your position? Are you the best out of those guys? Are you going to get an opportunity to play in your position and not out of position? And we see that a lot with kids that were younger, that were big, and maybe they stopped growing and they're not going to be a center the rest of their life or a 4 or 5. So figuring out where you're at as an opportunity and where you have the best chance of developing, and all the things that, Ray said in the last segment, but figuring out where you're at and what your opportunity is to showcase all of your skills and everything you can do when it matters, right? Because we're not seeing guys pass out offers on, as 8th graders or freshmen like they were a couple of years ago. If you're that guy, you're going to get the offer. For the rest of us, we're going to have to work hard and be able to show our value as we go to the college coaches that have a lot more options than they've had in the past with the transfer portal and NIL and all the stuff that are all the buzzwords that everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah. And Ray, how should players and parents navigate the club basketball decision? There's a lot of options.
Can I
out
piggyback
there.
Jason real quick?
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
that's one of the top questions I get asked from the mass, and my answer is this: it takes a village, and I think that parents rely a lot on the grassroots coach, the platform, and/or the high school coach, and I saw this as a list of questions, and in my mind, that's like one of the things that I'm always asked, because not everyone is blessed enough to get seen early or be physically ready or whatever. First, everyone's journey is unique and different. And you may not be early on, but you could be later on, right? But the biggest thing is when I'm asked that, I tell everyone every bit helps, every bit. Everything from a scouting service to, the crazy guy in the stands that says that he knows a coach. Like, I've been doing this so long, I have literally seen a player get recruited every which way you can think imaginable. And most of them are done in that unique style versus like playing on the platform and hitting 10 threes. Most of them are done on what I call in the grassroots, the handshake deal of like, hey, let me call this coach that I know back east or in this town of 1,300. And that's where guys are getting their starts. So the biggest thing I think athletes and parents need to understand is it takes a village and utilize everything possible. I see a lot of kids get recruited through scouting services. I see a lot of kids get recruited through the guy like me that's in the gym just to watch a game that no one would even know my contact list. to be able to call and say, hey, I just saw this young man here do this. So that's the biggest thing is it takes a village. I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
No, I think that's great
Good
advice.
point.
That's great advice. And Ray, I'm going to stay with you. You know, how should players and parents navigate the club basketball decision? Because there's a lot of options out there. In my opinion, too many. You know, how do they navigate that and really make the right decision?
So I think the very first thing is perspective of your athlete and yourself. Know who you are, know what you're good at, get an understanding of what level you think you are. And that, you know, can be classified as just a really good high school player and wanting to get better, as a kid that's got to, you know, maybe go junior college, go through the system. So know who you are. But I hang my hat really on 5 things when people ask. One, for the parents, more importantly, because kids can't judge this, but find adults you want to be around your kids. Because when you are doing the grassroots, you're traveling a lot. This is an extension of you. So, you know, values and that kind of ordeal should be decently aligned. I mean, I know it's just, and some roles a basketball coach, but I'm just telling you, I have a relationship with kids that I take very seriously, and you're mentoring these young men. And so one is that. I hold that as number one. Number 2 is finding a coach that believes in your kid. And that's important because naturally, if you believe in someone, you're going to fight harder for them in terms of exposure, talking to coaches, that kind of ordeal. So I think that is important. And you can see that, you know, as a parent, you obviously can see who believes in your son a little bit more and so forth. The development plan for your child. And I don't necessarily mean like within the practice, but just the circle of people around the program that can help with development. So you're going to go to grassroots practice. You're going to get 2 or 3 practices a week. And with that, a lot of it's team concepts, but what access do they have to trainers and scouting services and that they can help with that? Then kind of not 4 or 5, but together, their viewing period schedule, if it's about exposure. And then lastly, your role on the team, right? And that could be one or the other. But understanding and this is where perspective comes in, you know, what your role is going to be on the team. And if you can fulfill that role at a collegiate level.
Yeah, I love it. Great answer. Great answer. Good.
Ray, I'm going to stay with you, and we're going to try to keep this under an hour. How has grassroots basketball changed over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years?
It's a business. I think when grassroots started in the early years, practices were at 6, 7 o'clock at night. You had coaches that had jobs that were doing this because, you know, they were trying to help out or whatever the thing may be. You have guys doing this full time now. You have everything from money grabs to showcases to all these teams you have to choose from. So in hindsight, you really have to do your research. I think you can get into what traditionally that coach and or program has done. But the biggest change is now there's money involved. I mean, agents can be involved at the level that I see. Agents can be involved, money's involved, NIL's involved. Where you're picking college determines whether you can extend your career past college. And so now there seems to be a lot more distractions that can help the family early instead of later, if that makes any sense. So I would just say that with grassroots basketball is like a service. And so I tell people when they laugh at me, it's like fast food. Just depends on where you want to go. Sometimes you can go to Jaguars, you go to McDonald's. Just each team has their own brand and unique thing they do. And it's really, you know, where you think fits your kid.
Oh, that was good. And the money aspect to it, because that is a huge factor in this. So Jason, along those lines, Ray gave us some great tips already. Jason, what are some look-fors if I'm a parent and I'm looking to get my son or daughter involved in grassroots basketball? What are some look-fors in a program?
You know, I think there's a lot out there as a parent. I met with a parent the other day. One of the things we do is we sit down and we talk to everybody belly to belly before we invite them into our program. Most of our kids, we don't have much turnover, right? We've had a couple of kids move out of state, a couple of kids that were were good enough to play at the 3SSB level that we sent up to the Magic. But for the most part, our kids, come through our program, some of them since the 5th grade all the way through high school. And really, somebody that's willing, like Ray said, to invest in your son or daughter. But nowadays, the hardest part as a parent is knowing what's real and what's not, because everybody that's ever played basketball is an expert on how to get recruited and where to play and what to do and all of those things. And so, trying to figure out if the person that's telling you they're going to get you to where you want to go, have they done that, and what level have they done that at? And then talking to, I'd say talk to some of the players that are in their program, talk to some of the parents, see if it meets the culture that you're looking for out of a program, right? All of those things. I mean, it's no different than how we would operate in our lives, but it's tough. It's harder than it's ever been. I mean, seems like there's 10 new teams that pop up every day. And I get, messages from, players and families. Do you know this team? Do you know this person? I get inboxed by them, and I don't know some of the people, and some I do, and some, some have been with this team and now they're started a new team. But the guys that have kind of been doing this and doing it at a high level have your reputation for doing a great job for their players. And it's a passion, right? It's far beyond any amount of money you'll ever pay. It's people that will take your phone call and tell you the hard truths sometimes, not just what you want to hear, and motivate your son to continue to move forward. The mentorship piece is a tremendous part of what we do. On our out-of-town tournaments, we have vans, and we load the vans up and we drive across, mostly to Los Angeles and Anaheim and those areas. And during those times, it's team building, it's life skills, it's communication, it's mentorship, it's all the things that, as Ray said, do you want those folks around your son? And are they able to help them in life, which ends up being far greater than anything we ever will do in the game of basketball, right? And so, like we say, is, basketball is a part of life, and use basketball. Don't let basketball use you, right? And so I've met some of the greatest people from all walks of life in basketball, far greater than any other one thing I've done in my life and any business I've been part of or anything I've ever done. I've met some of the most amazing people, and we can all sit in one room and we all do different things and come from different neighborhoods and different upbringings and backgrounds, but basketball brings us all together. So just finding people that you trust and locking in and not jumping around to a new team every year. The goal is to try to find somebody that can lock in with you and you lock in with them and let the village work and see where you can help people go.
Great.
Basketball players, are you grinding in the gym but struggling to get noticed by college coaches? Your talent deserves the right exposure, and that's where Net Results Recruiting comes in. Whether you're in high school, junior college, or prep school, we help you connect with college programs, get you promoted to college coaches, and receive expert guidance throughout your recruitment journey. Don't leave your future to chance. Get exposure, get guidance, get results. Let our team find your team. Visit netresultsrecruiting.com today and take the next step towards your college basketball dream.